AM. It is time for English home language for grade 10. Yes. Without a waste of time, let us get on with the lesson. Can we see who is with us today? Can you please say hi on the chat so we can see who's with us today? I mean, myself being a teacher, you saying hi is almost is synonymous to taking a register. Can we see who's with us? All right, okay. Wow, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being part of the lesson today. Thank you. I see everybody's here. A couple of highs. Thank you, Lenas. Thank you, Tyrone, Tino, Colin, Lionheart, Lois. Thank you, everybody. Good morning to everyone. This is English home language for grade 10. I'm so excited to be here with you and do something very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting lesson, I promise you. All right. So in that case, what will today's lesson be all about? So today's lesson will be about prefixes, suffixes, as well as the root of words. Okay. Realize that this is something which could really be very helpful for you to know, especially in very desperate times. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you see a word, let's say maybe it's a test or it's an exam, you see a certain word and you do not means, right? I mean, since you are in an exam, you really can't pull out your phone to Google the meaning of the word. You really can't take out the dictionary to find out the meaning of the word. So you realize that with your good understanding of prefixes and suffixes, you can be able to deduce the meaning of a word, even if you do not know that word. Right? I know it sounds far-fetched, but stick with me in this lesson and you will see that this is really how it is with suffixes and prefixes. And remember, guys, this is your class. It is for you. So if you have a question, please do not hesitate to ask your questions, okay? If you have a question, raise your hand and I will give you a chance to speak, or you can use the chat to type your question. And I promise you that as soon as I see your question appearing in the chat, I will get to it. I will answer your question. Okay, all right. So prefixes, a prefix is a group of letters at the beginning of a word that influences the meaning or function of the word, right? Did you all get that? Let me go through it again. A prefix is a group of letters at the beginning of a word that influences the meaning or the function of the word. Okay, so a prefix are the letters that are found at the front of some words. So it is very important for me to emphasize this, okay? Each and every word has its beginning and also has its ending, right? But not every word has a prefix, okay? Let me show you with an example. Let me just choose any word here. Choose the word, let me choose the word letters, right? So in the word letters, you can see that it starts with the letter L, then E, double T, E, R, S, right? Then it would be wrong of us to say that LET is a prefix or LE is a prefix or L is a prefix. Remember our definition. Our definition of a prefix, it says that a group of letters at the beginning of a word that influences the meaning or the function of the word. So what does that mean? This means that the prefix itself also has a meaning. So if I say that let is a prefix, what then is the meaning of the word let? No, it really doesn't have a meaning. And another thing about prefixes, if you take out the prefix, right, the letters which are left should have their own meaning. Okay. If you do not understand, it's okay. Stick with me. I'm going to show you a couple of examples which will really get my point home, right? So here is a table there, which I'm going to use to give you examples of what I was saying in the previous slide. So these are examples, right? So here's a table. So in this table, the first column has the prefix, the second column has the meaning, and the third column has the examples of the words which have that prefix, right? So the first prefix is anti or anti. Yeah, it's anti, right? So so our prefix is anti, right? What does this prefix mean? The prefix means against, right? So an example of a word with the prefix anti is antisocial, right? So you realize that in my word antisocial, I can take out the word anti. So if I take out the word anti, remember I said the word anti, it means against, right? So if I take out the word anti, I will have the word social, which also has a meaning by itself, right? Yes. So the word anti has a meaning by itself. It is a prefix because it is at the beginning of the word. And I will be left with the word social, which also has its meaning by itself. Okay, then what this means is that if I combine the prefix anti to the word social, we have the word antisocial. And you realize that the word antisocial is the same thing as the word social. They mean two different things. And you realize that you can change the meaning of the word social by adding the prefix anti, right? Are we all together? If you have a question, please remember to raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to speak, or you can use the chat to ask your question and I will gladly help you because I am here for you. Right. Okay. So let's go to the second example. We have contra, which means against, right? Contra means against, and then the example of a word with the prefix contra is contradict. To contradict is to say something which is opposite, right? It's something which is opposite. So then if I remove the prefix contra, which I would be left with the letters which spells out the word dict. Dict, that's where you get your dictionary, so dict, it really has to do with words. So that means that adding contra with dict, we get the word contradict, which means to be against the word, right? That, that is what you say when someone is contradicting themselves. That is when that person which is against what they've said. That is to contradict. And that is how you can really get the meaning of that word by using the prefixes, right? Then our next example, we have multi, which means many. As an example, we have multimedia. We have multimedia. You realize that if you remove the prefix multi, you will be left with we will be left with the word media, and the word media, it has a meaning by itself. Multi to the word media, you have changed the meaning. Okay, I see some questions in the chat. Nkaklo says multiplayer. Yes, multiplayer, it is also a good example, Nkaklo, because remember, multi is a prefix which means many, and then if you remove that multi, you will be left with player. And then by adding the prefix multi to the word player, then we have come up with a new word completely, a new word which has a new meaning. Thank you, Nkaklo. That's a very good example. Multiplayer is a good example. Then we have Lionheart saying, okay, like multi plus tasking is equals to multitasking. Yes, you realize that tasking, it is a word by itself. It has a meaning. Multi, it is also a prefix by itself with a meaning. So if you combine them, we have the word multitasking, and you realize that tasking does not mean the same as the word multitasking. You all see what I'm getting at, right? Thank you. Then prefix, we have super. Super means above, and then, for example, we have supersede. So supersede is something which is above the other, right? And then you'll see when we remove the prefix super will be left with seed, and seed can really stand on its own. Remember, if you have a question, the chat to ask your questions. Now we can, still on prefixes. So like lesson began that sometimes when you know what the prefix of a word means, that can help you to work out the meaning of a word. Here is an example. Let's say you are in an exam or in a test, then you see the word pre-existing and you do not know what the word means, right? So, but if you know your prefixes, then you'll know that the prefix pre, it means before. So that means it is, the prefix means before and then existing. So if we add before and existing, it will mean that the word pre-existing actually means existing before or before existing. So from your knowledge of prefixes, you are able to get the meaning of a word that which you do not know. You see, that is how prefixes can really help us in desperate times, right? Another interesting thing is that a prefix can be added to the root word to make a new word. Okay, so later on in the lesson, I will be dealing with the root of a word to show you how you can make a new word by adding a root word with a prefix. Okay, if you do not understand that now, please, it's okay. Just relax. Don't be frustrated. We are still coming to that. Right? So what's next is, okay, Lionheart. Lionheart is asking us, sir, is unhappy a prefix word? Not really. Okay, remember, Lionheart, we said a prefix is the group of letters which occur at the beginning of a word. That is a prefix, right? But the word unhappy, it has a prefix. So in the word unhappy, the prefix there is un. That un is our prefix. Why? Because an, it changes the meaning of the word happy. So if we have the word happy, you know, happy is someone who is filled with joy. They have happiness. Then if we add you and an, it changes the meaning of happy. Happy then becomes unhappy. Then the meaning is changed. The meaning of the word happy is changed now. It becomes unhappy. So that an becomes, because that an, it talks about an opposite, right? That an talks about the opposite. Do you understand, Lionheart? If you still do not understand, you can still ask again and I'll try to, okay, thank you for answering my questions. So thank you, Lionheart, for asking your question. Thank you. So yes, unhappy, it has a prefix, which the prefix there, which we pronounce it as an. Okay, then now we can move on to suffixes. So a suffix is a group of letters at the end of a word that influences the meaning or the function of the word. A suffix is the letters that are found at the end of some words. Like I have said with prefixes, not every word has a suffix. Not every word has a suffix. I can use letters as an example again. Right? We can't say ERS is our, no, we can't say that. Right? Yes. And I will show you that with a couple of examples. A couple of examples will bring this point home. So a suffix is essentially the prefix. Remember, I said that a prefix are the group of words which appear at the beginning of, and those group of letters, they have their meaning by themselves, and they also influence the meaning of the word that which they are attached to. The same is also true with a suffix, that a suffix is a group of letters at the end of a word, and they have a meaning by themselves, and they influence the meaning of a word that which they are attached to. Okay, let's go to examples now. Yes, Lionheart, suffixes are the opposite of prefixes. Thank you, Lionheart. Thank you so much. That is a good way of understanding it. Thank you. Okay, now it's example time for suffixes. Okay, so our first example is the suffix s, ess. ESS, which we pronounce it as S. So the meaning is, it means female or feminine. Yes, it means female. The example of a word is that we have actress. We have actress. Um, we use the word actor. An actor usually describes a male, a male in the performing arts. That is an actor. The male in a performing arts who is acting is an actor. But if that actor is female, then we're going to remove that actor and add the prefix s to have the word actress. So then actress, it tells us that this is an actor who is a female. So you realize that if we remove the suffix s, remember we said the suffix s, it stands for female, it means female. So if we remove that suffix, we will be left with the word actress. So you'll see that even if we remove the suffix, we still have the word, and that word will have its own meaning. So we have the word actor. So if we add the suffix s, it changes the meaning of the word. Instead of the actor being a male, now it will be a female. So a female actor, which is an actress. Yes, Lionheart, like a waitress. Remember, waitress comes from waiter, right? A waitress comes from waiter. Waiter is a male person who waits at the table. So if that person who waits at the table is a female, then we add the suffix ess to the word waiter. We remove the o, then we are going to have waitress. Thank you, Lionheart. That is a very good example. Nkatho saying tigress. Tigress is a female tiger. Tigress is a female tiger. You realize that when we remove that ess suffix, we'll be left with the word tiger, right? So by removing the suffix ess, we have changed the meaning. It's no longer a tiger. We changed the meaning. It's no longer a male tiger, but it is a female tiger. Thank you so much for your examples. Then we have Poppy giving us an example saying Mr. Mistress. Yes, thank you, Poppy, for that. So from Mr., if we add the suffix ess as for female, then the Mr. becomes a mistress. So it means that a mistress is a female Mr., right? So it is a female. Thank you so much, guys, for your questions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the examples that which you are giving. You really are making this class to be so amazing, so enjoyable. I'm enjoying this, guys. I'm enjoying this, learners. Lionheart, Poppy, Nkako, everybody else in the class. I'm enjoying this. Thank you. Thank you so much for becoming part of the lesson. BMAX, Dwayne, Lois, Lucian, Sean, Suhan, Tino, Tyrone. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's continue with examples. I really believe in examples that, the more examples, the more they really bring the point home. That the more we give examples, the more you can really get to understand what is going on. You can really get to understand more. Then another suffix is less, less, which means without. As an example, I gave the word hopeless. So hopeless is the state of being without hope. So remember, since less means without, then it means hopeless means hope without, or it means without hope. Okay, so you realize that if you remove the suffix less, we will be left with the word hope, and the word hope has a meaning by itself. Less means without, hope means hope, right? Hope means what? Hope means. Okay, yeah. So by removing the suffix less here, we'll be left with hope. Hope has a meaning by itself. So by introducing the suffix less, we are changing the meaning of the word. The word will become hopeless, and the word hopeless has a different meaning compared to the word hope. Are we all together? Thank you. Aha, thank you, Lionheart. Lionheart has given us another example, lifeless. Yes, lifeless, it means without life. So if we remove the suffix less, we will be left with life, and life can stand at its own as its own word. It has a meaning on its own. Then, okay, Nkhalko's example is heartless. So heartless, there we have heart we have hard, and less is our suffix. So if we remove less, we're going to be left with hard. Thank you, Nkako. Had rain gives us the word useless. Less is our suffix, which means without. So useless means without use, or something which cannot be used, or without use, then it's useless. Thank you, Had rain. Thank you so much, guys, for your examples. Now we can move to the next example. The next suffix will be full, which means an amount or quantity. Then an example of such a word with the suffix full, I gave mouthful. Remember, it's only full with one L, right? It's not double L. It is not double L. It's not double L. Yes. So it's mouthful. It's mouthful. Yeah. Okay, just a moment. Mouthful. So you realize that if you remove the full, we'll be left with the word mouth, and the word mouth has a meaning, and it can stand by itself. Then we have the, okay, we have Tino asking mournful. Yes, yes, Tino. So mournful, then it will mean that it is the amount of mourning, right? Yes. Lionheart, joyful, joyful. Yes, that is also correct. Thank you guys for your wonderful examples. Then the last suffix as my example will be ly. Yes, Hedrin, fruitful is also correct. Okay, so for the suffix ly, the li, it means in the manner of, right? So li, it tells you how something is done. So as an example, I put the word nicely, right? So what does that mean? It means that this thing is done in a nice way. It was done in a nice manner, right? Yes. So the li there is our suffix, which means in the manner. If I remove the li, we will remain with the word nice. I see other examples you're giving in the chat. Tino is giving costly. That's correct. Head rain says hastily. Correct. Love, Lionheart is saying lovely. That's correct. Poppy saying homely. That is also correct. Okay. And there is one thing that you may realize from suffixes, which we didn't realize with prefix. I don't know if some of you have seen it. Okay, but it's fine. I will show you in the next slide. Yes, Nkako hopefully is also correct. Another interesting thing about suffixes is this, is that a suffix usually changes the grammar of a word. Okay, let us go to the examples I gave to really demonstrate that. Okay, no. Okay, here is an example here. Here's an example I gave here. Remember, I just said that suffixes usually change the grammar of a word. So, as an example, I have the word eat, right? And the word eat is in simple present tense. So if I add the suffix ing, what does ing tell us about the word eat? It tells us that this word eating, the word eat now becomes eating. And what is the tense of this word? This word is in a continuous tense. No, is in a continuous tense. It could be in a past continuous tense, but the main point here is that it is in a continuous tense because of the suffix ing. So you realize that this suffix ing, it has changed the grammar of a word, okay? And if you can go back to our examples for suffixes, you realize that these suffixes have also changed it has also changed the of our word. Okay, let me go here, right? I think this will be a perfect example. Right. Okay, let us come to our, no, okay, let me start with the third one. Let us come to the third suffix, which is full, right? Which we said it means amount or quantity. And I gave an example. So you realize that this full is added to the word mouth. What is a mouth? Mouth is it a noun, a verb, an adjective, an adverb? You realize that mouth is a noun. So if I add mouthful, if I add full to mouthful, it becomes mouthful, which is still a noun. Okay, that's okay. That's good. That's okay. That's good. No problem there, nothing new there. Then let me come to the fourth example. For our suffix li, yes, Lionheart, it stays a noun, but that is not always the case, as I'm going to show you with the fourth example. So the suffix se is li, which means in the manner of, and you realize that we added the suffix li to the word nice so that it becomes nicely. So what is the word nice? Is it a noun, a verb, an adjective, an adverb? What is it? You realize that the word nice is an adjective. The word nice is an adjective. Why? Because it describes something. Let me give an example. That is a nice dress. So you realize that the word nice, in my example, it describes the dress, that the dress, it is nice. So the word nice, it describes a noun. So which means that the word nice itself is an adjective. So if we add the suffix li to the word nice, it becomes nicely. So it becomes nicely. So it's nicely an adjective. Is nicely an adjective. Is nicely a noun. Is nicely a verb. Is nicely an adverb. So you will realize that nicely, it is our adverb. Why? Because nicely, it describes the manner at which something is done. So nicely then it is our adverb. So you will see that by adding the suffix li to our adverb nice, let me start again. You realize that by adding the suffix li to our adjective nice, it will give us the word nicely, which is an adverb. So you realize that by adding the prefix, you realize that by adding the suffix, we have changed the part of speech of the word. No longer is the word an adjective, but now the word becomes an adverb. Okay, so that is something that a suffix also does. Interesting, isn't it? I told you it's interesting. I told you so. I told you so. Right. So let's continue. Where are we? A suffix can be added to the root word to make a new word. Right. Remember, I did promise that we will do the root of a word so that you can understand. Now let us go to the root of a word. This is something very, 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 very important. So the root of a word, so the part of a word. Okay, before I go with root of words, remember, if you have a question, the chat is still open for you to ask the question. If there is something you need clarity on prefix or suffix, please ask and I will help you. So the root is the part of a word that contains the basic meaning of that word. I'll say it again. The part of a word that contains the basic meaning of that word is called the root. Sometimes they call it the base. So the root is so in simple terms, you can say that the root is the main part of a word. I believe in examples, so here is a couple of them there. For example, in the word autograph, you know what autograph means, right? So in the word autograph, the root word here is graph, and then our prefix there is auto. So the prefix auto, it means by self. It means by self, or yes, by self, by self. That's what the prefix auto means. So auto becomes our prefix, and then graph is our root. So you realize that by adding the prefix auto and the root graph, we have a word autograph. Another example is telephone. Our prefix there is the word tele, then our root word is the word phone. So if we add the prefix tele with the word phone, we have the word telephone. Are we all together? Remember, if you don't understand, the chat is open for you to answer a question so that I can help you, because I am here for you. Okay, so here is an example of root words and how prefixes and suffixes can be added to them to make a new word. That's what I said with the definition of a root. I said that a root is the main part of a word. The main part of a word is a root. So here is the root. So in our first example, the root word is the word eat. So the word eat is a root. Right, and to the word eat you can add a prefix over. So if you add the prefix over to the word eat, what we will have? We will have over eat, which will change the meaning of the word eat. You know, when you think about eating, you just think of eating moderately, eating moderately. But if you add the prefix over, remember the prefix over, it means something which is in another level now, above the normal level, right? Yes. So then what that means will be that if we add the prefix over to the root word eat, we have the word overeat. And overeat is in simple present tense. Then the suffix ing, which will change the grammar of our word. Then our word will become overeating, which is in a continuous tense. You see that now? Let's see the chat. Okay. All right. I have. Okay. Lionheart is asking. So the root word is the main word. Yes, Lionheart. Main word, and you realize that without the root word, we do not have a word at all. Consider the first example. If we didn't have the root word eat, we cannot combine the prefix over and the suffix ing. If we do, we'll have the word overing. Is that the word overing in the English language? No, there's no such a word. So you realize that the root it is the main. You realize that the root word it is the main part of a word, and without it, we do not have a word at all. Okay, then we have Poppy there. Poppy giving an example saying unfriendly. Yes, Poppy. Un becomes our prefix. Friend is our root word. Li is our suffix. Thank you for your wonderful example, Poppy. Lionheart saying unjoyful. Un is our prefix. Joy is our root suffix. Okay, let's go over the examples I gave in the table. Then we have the prefix none usually means 0. Then if we add it with the root word exist, we're gonna have non-exist. That is something which doesn't exist. Then we can add the suffix and then we'll have the word non-existent. We'll have the word non-existent. We'll have the word non-existent, which is an adjective. So you realize that by adding and we have changed also the type of the word exist will be. Exist was a verb, but by adding the suffix ent, then it becomes an adjective, a describing word. Then another prefix is an. An means an opposite. So an, if we add it to the root word punish and add the suffix add, we have unpunished, which is an adjective. Yeah. We have pre means before. If we add it to the root word view, we have previewing. So you realize that the root word can stand by itself is view. If we add the suffix ing is viewing, so it changes the tense of view. I mean, view can be a verb. So if you add the suffix ing, then it becomes a verb in a continuous tense. View can also be a noun. So if you add ing, also becomes a noun, like the viewing of a house, Then prefix, if you add the prefix pre to this, so if we add the prefix pre, to view and the suffix ing, we will have the word previewing. See, so that is how root words work, and that is how you can use prefix, root words, and suffixes to make a new word. And you can also use this to also meaning of a word. For example, let us go to my first example of overeating. Let's say you see the word overeating, you do not know what it means, and you do not have a dictionary on you, and you can't even Google it. So what you can do is you can study the word. Look, is there a prefix there? Okay, there's the prefix over. You know that over is a prefix and it means above, or above normal, or over. Yes. So you can underline it, the prefix over, you know what it means. So that's good for us. You know what it means. So it's over. You know what over means. Then you look at the suffix ing. That's the suffix. You know that is the suffix for some adjectives and also for verbs in continuous tense. Then you also locate the root word, which is it. Okay. So now over means above. You know what eating means, and you know that ing is a suffix which means a verb in a continuous tense. So then you can then have the meaning of the word overeating, that so overeating, then it means to eat continuously above normal. You see, then you know that okay, the word overeating, it means to eat above normal continually. So it means to eat, ing will mean continually, over will mean above. So that means that overeating, it means to eat continually above. You see, so you see now that by your knowledge and understanding of prefixes, root and suffixes, you are able to get the meaning of a word that which you did not know. All right, so this is essentially what that the root of a word is the form from which a word has been made by using prefixes. Okay, so we can make a word by adding this. Okay, I know this looks like maths. Remember, this is not mathematics, this is English. But you should also rejoice that, if you see another subject creeping in, if you see one subject creeping in another subject, you should be happy. This means that all these subjects, they integrate, they go together, and you can really see how important all these subjects really are. Okay, so this will help us to appreciate maths. Yes, right. Shout out to all our maths teachers. Okay, so a prefix plus the root word plus the suffix will give us a word. Here's an example. I said over, which is prefix, plus the root it plus the suffix ing. So that is really all there is to it, right? That is all there is to it. So this is what we did. So what did we do? Here is the summary of the lesson. So we did prefixes, suffixes, and the root. So what did we say? We said that a prefix is the letters that are found at the beginning or at the front of some words. I gave a couple of main examples. Then we also said a suffix is the letters that are found at the end of some words. And we said the part of a word, basic meaning of that word is called the root word or the base. Okay, so right. Here are some examples, right? You can really use them. So you can really please take a screenshot of this. It was one. You can take a screenshot of this. Yes, so here this was a first question about prefixes where the answers are written in red. Okay, so you can just ignore them and see if you can see if you can be able to answer this by yourself. So what you can do is you can just cover all these answers which are in red and write your own. See if you can be able to answer it. Okay. Yes. So these are for prefixes. I hope you took a screenshot so I can. Next one. So these are the 10 prefixes, and you realize that most of them, they are very popular. That's why you really need to know and understand them. They really help you in math, in natural science, in whatever subject you'll be doing, EMS, history, geography, economics. These prefixes can. Then question 2 was about suffixes. Do the same thing. Remember, I said all these words written in red are the answers. So all those in black were the questions. Okay. So see if you can be able to answer them by yourself, right? Go through them, study them, look them up, make sure that you know and understand them, because they really are helpful. You really need to know these prefixes and suffixes. They will really help you one day. I don't know when, but I know that one day you really need them and they will help you. Right, and this one, it is for interest sake. So you can see those ones these ones, they can really help you with your maths. With your maths, these ones, they can really help you. You'll see these are the prefixes of numbers. Hexa meaning Okay, mono meaning one, bi meaning two, tri meaning three, etc., etc., etc. So for your maths, and you realize that for sept, oct, nona, and deca, I put the example words in stars. That is because I heard this story. I don't know if it's true, but I have heard this story that in the past a year had 10 months. Okay. So in we know that a year has 12 months, but they say in the past it had 10 months. So the 2 months which were not there were July and August, right? So it means that September, then remember sept means 7. So then September was the 7th month. Oct meaning 8, October was the 8th month. Nona, it means 9, so which means that November was the 9th month of that time. And then Deca, which means 10 for December, which means December was the last month, it was the 10th month. Yes, so yeah, that is why I said for interest sake there, that's something very interesting. So yeah, I think this is something you will appreciate, especially if you do maths and science subjects, yeah, and every other subject for that matter. So these are good prefixes to learn, to know. So we have come to the end of our lesson, guys. We've come to the end of our lesson, learners. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being part of the lesson. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your participants, for everything. Yes, I was standing in for your teacher today. Your teacher will be coming back tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of this lesson. It was great. It was wonderful. I enjoyed being a part of it. Thank you so much. Until next time, for another lesson for Grade 10 English Home Language, remember to tune in next time. Be great, keep well, take care. Until next time, from all of us here at STEM Lockdown School, we love you. Goodbye.